Hello everybody, my name is Star Wars Boy, how are you? And welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. In this video, we finish off the how-to killstreaks video with a how-to killstreaks for the BB units. This is a pretty complex video, and because the BB units are pretty hard to use, we're gonna go a bit more in depth than we did in the hero guides. Before I start the video, only a small percentage of viewers are actually subscribed, so if you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe. It's completely free and it helps out the channel. Anyways, let's get into it. Now, for the first tip, I'd honestly just say to make yourself a slippery target. The number one thing you should be doing while attacking enemies with your primary shock prod is honestly just to keep on jumping around, because it's gonna make you a lot harder to hit. The second tip is when you're going up to enemies, don't just roll in a straight line. Try to dash forward and back and to side just to make yourself a bit harder to hit. Not only are you really small, but you're also really fast, and making yourself a really hard target is gonna make sure that you don't lose a lot of health when trying to get a simple kill. Now, the next tip, honestly, just to use whatever offensive abilities you can. Now, even though I said that BB9E's shock spin is garbage and you should not use it that often, it's pretty decent when you activate it and then suddenly deactivate it right away, as you'll launch enemies really far away. Now, I don't recommend having this on for the entire duration, especially if you're in an open area. However, if you are in a close quarters area, it's better just to use it just to get that damage in and possibly a few kills. Whatever offensive abilities you have, it's better to use them right away. Most people, including myself, have the mentality that, oh, I have a really good ability, I should use it when I can get the maximum amount of kills. And that's not necessarily an option sometimes. Sometimes you should use that ability just on one person, because that one person may give you a bit of health back or just make your kill streak a higher number. The next tip is to stay with your teammates more than usual. Now, with the blaster heroes and lightsaber heroes, I said that you should be lenient to staying with your team and without them, as sometimes you may need backup and sometimes they're just gonna steal your kills. With the BB units, especially BB9E, it's better to be with your teammates most of the time. With BB units having 3 passive abilities, not 1, you'll be benefiting your team a lot more while playing the objective and just staying near them. It might even help your kill streak, as you're going to be getting rid of a lot of heroes and reinforcements, as all these passive abilities will make it a lot easier to take them down. Since I just mentioned they have 3 passive abilities, I should probably talk about each one of them. The first one is obviously health on kill, which is ability everyone has in the game except for Bosk. The second ability basically just helps them capture objectives faster, so they count as 2 instead of 1. For instance, if they're in a capture zone, it will count as 2 units instead of 1. The next one simply reduces the recharge rate of people around you on your team, of course. This is why I recommend staying with your team and playing the objective. Not only will you count as 2 units and not 1, but if you're sabotaging something and you sabotaged it, it will go 2 times faster instead of 1. This will be really helpful for your team, especially if you're on the offensive side, which is why if you're a team player, I recommend choosing these guys. They're also pretty good for kill streaks, as you can simply go into a capture area and just wipe out a lot of enemies with your shock and cable spin, or knock them out of the way. They're both team players, and it's important to remember to stick with your team, as you're going to help with them. Now, as for going for massive rampages, I can honestly say that the best tip is to flank around your enemies and get them from behind. Now, it's not a smart move to go into the central command post or wherever you're planning on going. If there are a lot of enemies there, a lot, 7, 8, 9, I recommend just going out of there, or if you're BB8, using your cable spin, as BB9E's shock spin is only gonna push them away from you and notify you that BB9E is here. If you're using BB-8 on any offensive map or defensive map, just flank around the enemies and get them from behind, as it's going to be a lot better for you. BB-9E is slightly worse than BB-8, and by slightly I mean a lot, as his only good ability is shock spin, but it does have a lot of flaws with it. He has no other offensive abilities, so his shock prod is going to be his main weapon 9 out of 10 times. So it's important to stick with your team more. However, you do want to go offensive the same way you would go with BB-8, and that is of course flanking around and getting them from the behind. Now, as for the final 2 tips, these are 2 tips that I actually forgot and I left out of my hero guides. The first one is about the triggers, and aka the clicks. When using Emperor Palpatine, you obviously want to use the left trigger and right trigger, as you're using both hands, but that's not the case for the BB units. Using both triggers or clicking the twice will actually make you lose stamina faster, and what you actually want to do is just simply pull the left trigger or the right trigger. It doesn't matter which one, but just be sure to only pull one of them. The second one is that BB-9E actually does stun enemies with his shock prod while he's attacking them. This makes him one of the most annoying enemies to take out and proves him to be a nuisance on the battlefield. Once you're attacking a BB-9E, he'll stun you and continue to stun you with his primary attack, which makes taking him out and even doing damage to him really annoying. This is an important tip to know as BB-9E, as that's the one thing that makes you stand out in a better way than BB-8. Now, as for the final 2 tips, these are 2 tips that I actually forgot and I left out of my hero guides. The first one is about the triggers, and aka the clicks. When using Emperor Palpatine, you obviously want to use the left trigger and right trigger, as you're using both hands, but that's not the case for the BB units. Using both triggers or clicking the twice will actually make you lose stamina faster, and what you actually want to do is just simply pull the left trigger or the right trigger. It doesn't matter which one, but just be sure to only pull one of them. The second one is that BB-9E actually does stun enemies with his shock prod while he's attacking them. This makes him one of the most annoying enemies to take out and proves him to be a nuisance on the battlefield. Once you're attacking a BB-9E, he'll stun you and continue to stun you with his primary attack, which makes taking him out and even doing damage to him really annoying. This is an important tip to know as BB-9E, as that's the one thing that makes you stand out in a better way than BB-8. So that is gonna be it for this video, guys. We have done 3 videos on this little series here, and we are finally done with this series and with the hero guide series. In the coming weeks, we will be doing reinforcement guides and the 4 class guides for the 4 base infantries. If you are looking forward to those videos, be sure to subscribe with notifications on, and be sure to join the Discord. The link will be in the description. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye, and may the force be with you always.